whichever spectre of the creative economy that you can think of, from filmmakers to actors and actresses, various thespians, Mr. Speaker, musicians, and producers of different things, Mr. Speaker. The thing that they lack the most is a channel through which they can access support to grow to the next level. The second and most important thing, Mr. Speaker, that they lack is a conducive environment for which they can ply their trade. How many times, Mr. Speaker, remember about 2 or 3 years ago, how you'd find young people being arrested in this town just for practicing photography. And it had to become such a big discussion until many leaders became aware that there are young people that are earning their trade or their bread and butter, sorry, Mr. Speaker, from photography and filmmaking, Mr. Speaker, to being allowed now to practice without any hindrance. Therefore, provision of a conducive environment for those in the creative sector, Mr. Speaker, is one important aspect. Those two things, Mr. Speaker, and I know Senator Eddy has worked on this bill with the help of a common friend of ours. I know Mr. Ezekiel Onyango, a former schoolmate of mine and a friend to Eddy, and currently a PhD student actually at the University of Manchester, studying about the creative economy and the contribution that this sector can make to our GDP, Mr. Speaker. That part of the contribution he has given you are those two extremely important ingredients, which if you were to get right as a country, Mr. Speaker, and that is what is being done in this particular bill, providing the platform, Mr. Speaker, and setting a conducive environment. Conducive environment means sometimes even just government getting out of the way. It's not just about whatever you require, that government needs to do this or the other. Just don't stop us from doing what we want to do, Mr. Speaker. And that is being provided for here in the second part of the bill, where Senator Eddy speaks about the creation of this guild, what he's referring to in the bill as the, there's a title which I don't want to miss. I want to refer to it, the Creative Industry Guild, Mr. Speaker, in part 2 of the bill, where it's an advisory board that guides on the creation of regulations, Mr. Speaker, and policies that help this particular industry thrive. There are many parts of this world, Mr. Speaker, that today their economy is anchored actually on the creative economy. There are parts and cities, Mr. Speaker, that are known, Mr. Speaker, for nothing else other than the contribution of either music, film, and so on and so forth. Many things that you can think as production, including painting, Mr. Speaker, and any contribution of a creative mind, Mr. Speaker, that it is possible to have so many people attracted to the policies of that particular part of the country, the same way you find, Mr. Speaker, say, budding techpreneurs troop to the Silicon Valley because of presence of other creatives, mentorship, financing, opportunities, Mr. Speaker, and many other things that make an environment conducive enough for somebody to want to work from there. It is possible to turn this country to be the mecca of the creative industry in Africa. And that particular friend that Senator Eddy and I share has written tons and tons of papers, Mr. Speaker, of how Kenya can be the next frontier for the creative economy, Mr. Speaker. And it is my sincere hope, Senator Eddy, that with the passage of this bill and the creation of this creative industry guild, such men and women with that level of competence can help to share their ideas and dreams on how Kenya can tap on this industry, Mr. Speaker, so that we take it to the next level. Part of the challenge that all global economies face, Mr. Speaker, is over-reliance on certain traditional industries. You know for a fact, for example, where you and I come from, Mr. Speaker, we have over-relied on tea. It is until we are able to point our young people who don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the tea farms and create for them a conducive environment in the creative economy space, Mr. Speaker, that they see this as an avenue through which they can express their talent and earn a living and secure a future for themselves and future generations, because it is possible. There are many people that we know, Mr. Speaker. At the last visit of the President to the state visit to the US, Mr. Speaker, I accompanied him. And we visited the Tyler Perry studios, Mr. Speaker. When you see the level of investment that has been put in such a facility, then you understand and begin to appreciate that we are joking here, Mr. Speaker, by squeezing our creatives at Kenya Film, what is that place called? The National Theatre, Mr. Speaker. A very small, crowded, neglected space, you know, Mr. Speaker, and very little incentives to them, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, it is my hope that when this guild is created, the first duty to the guild actually is to advise the Cabinet Secretary on the review the formulation of policies and legislation relating to the creative industry. And I don't think this is something that we even need to wait for this law to go through the rostrums of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, before we can actually do some of these things. There are many parts of the world. Indonesia, for example, Mr. Speaker, has appreciated the contribution of the creative space into their economy. And they have set up an entire ministry that just looks out after this. Because people sit and they analyze, and they say we have earned as much from tourism, and we shall continue to do this and invest in this sector so that it gives us this much. But they know it has an optimal level beyond which there's nothing you can do. They know we earn this, Mr. Speaker, from the agriculture sector. We earn this from manufacturing. And therefore, people sit down and crack their minds on what are the other sectors that can thrive and make our economy work better. And there is no other that presents a low-hanging fruit, Mr. Speaker, than the creative economy. Therefore, I want to urge colleague members to take the time, read this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, let us support it. Let us ensure, Mr. Speaker, that we expedite on it so that we are able to give to the citizens of this republic a piece of legislation that enables them to ply their trade, Mr. Speaker, and flourish the way other parts of the world, Mr. Speaker, have been able to allow their citizens to exercise their talent and earn from it, Mr. Speaker, make a living, employ other people, Mr. Speaker. One successful individual, Mr. Speaker, can employ tens of others just by the very act that we have supported them and allowed them to do many of these things. There are people who continue to troop to this country because of the beauty and the talent that exists in this particular republic, Mr. Speaker, to make their contribution and earn a living out of this. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is my sincere hope that we shall come up with policies, Senator Eddy, that will protect their talent, will protect their intellectual property, their contribution. It was interesting listening to Senator Mungatana complain about what happened during that event in Tana River. But I want to remind him also that he has failed, because a few months ago, I asked him to bring to me the singer of that very famous UDA national anthem from 2022. I know that they came from Tana River, and I had asked because I saw a clip of them complaining somewhere, and I had challenged you, Senator Mungatana, that you bring them to my office. But up to now, you have not done it, Senator Mungatana.
What's your point of order, Senator Mungatana?
Discussion we had with my good friend, the majority leader, was that we should, in fact, look for the young lady and, do something for her, which we did. It wasn't to bring her to you, but if you want, we can actually make her available to you.
That was point of information as to the availability, not point of order. Proceed, Majority Leader.
That's a very dangerous statement to be left on record, where he says he wants to bring her to me. That was not the request, Mr. Speaker. I thought, first of all, that song was sung by a team. It was a lady and a gentleman, not a lady alone, Mr. Speaker, and they used to sing it together. What we had requested, Senator Mungatana, is that given the contribution that that team from Tana River made to the UDA party, Mr. Speaker, that it will be proper for them to be properly recognized. Probably, if there was a misunderstanding, then I want to make it now properly to you, Senator Mungatana, that those young people need to be recognized by our party. And between you and I, we can get them to the party headquarters and have them listened to on the exact kind of reward they expected from us when we formed government, and I believe it is between him. The point I was trying to make overally is the reward for the works that creatives make, Mr. Speaker. There are many other people that make this kind of contribution. I know, for example, there is a young lady, for example, from my county, that sang a very important anthem that propelled Jubilee to power in 2017 across the Rift Valley. We visited her a few weeks ago, and she kept on saying, you know, the problem, the challenge with especially the political class is that there is no good value for the content that we create. That lady, for example, sang to me back in 2015, my first campaign song. I have since had other songs done to me by other musicians, but unfortunately, fortunately, this still remains to be the favorite, you know? And you ask yourself, how do we compensate for intellectual property such as that? We don't have sufficient legislation or a premium. Many of them, due to poverty, they sing sometimes for as cheap as 10, 20,000 Kenya shillings. And it propels a brand, either of an individual, a company, Mr. Speaker, a product, and they don't get sufficient reward. This guild needs to set the policies that such people and the standards, you know, of how such people can be compensated. I know there are other institutions that do that particular job, but there's need for modern thinking, Senator Eddie, and I hope that the guild will be able to facilitate the creative artists in doing those kind of things. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this bill. I congratulate Senator Eddie Okech for his industry and ensuring that he remembers a key segment of our society made by a larger population of people our age who will be actually serving well when we succeed to pass this particular bill and get it through our colleagues in the National Assembly, get their input, funding, Mr. Speaker, and moving it on to the next level. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support. I thank you.
Thank you, Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot. And now call upon Senator Samson Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, I want from the onset to support the Creative Economic Support Bill 2024. I wish you would have read that the Creative Economy and Innovation Bill, Support Bill in 2024, and I hope the Committee of the Whole, the Senator, the good Senator, Senator Kisheru, should allow us to amend. Mr. Speaker, before I make my comments, I want to pass my deepest condolences to one of the secular, legendary musician from the Kalenjin community called Solomon Manori, who just passed on the other day. My condolences to the family and friends for the untimely demise. Mr. Speaker, you remember when KBC used to broadcast from Kisumu, his songs was synonymous, Mr. Speaker, like Kipchamba, Mr. Speaker, and many others who have done their job. So I hope as we discuss about this bill, we should think also, although I didn't see in this bill, to how to celebrate even name places or roads or government buildings, Mr. Speaker, both county and national, after them, Mr. Speaker, because they are doing a great job. They have given us a name. Even the people who sang the national anthem gave out, Mr. Speaker. And this country, Mr. Speaker, has given us, Mr. Speaker, after stressful campaigns, engagement with the people in Harambes, in funerals, when you get into your car, you are them to put some songs. You scroll through TikTok, Mr. Speaker, you see what is happening. Nowadays even, it is no longer fashionable to watch traditional news at designated time. You already get that news live, Mr. Speaker. And when you get into, for us who have received Christ as our personal Savior, Mr. Speaker, I normally put the song of Joyce Langat, Mr. Speaker. I think she comes from your county, and you get blessed and encouraged after the rain of politics, especially after a meeting or so, Mr. Speaker. Even I'm happy that the president has pushed for monetizing of the content creation, especially in TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Mr. Speaker, or X as they call, among other social media sites. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, entertainment, Mr. Speaker, is one of the relaxing opportunities. And you remember in 2021, according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Kenyans spend a whooping 278 billion Kenyan shillings in entertainment. So there is money. Mr. Speaker, you are aware 35% of our population is young, Mr. Speaker. As per the statistics of 2022, 2.9 million Kenyans are without a job. And most of these are young people. The only way is no longer traditional blue or white collar jobs or farming. The only way, Mr. Speaker, is to give them opportunity to use the creative economy to place themselves, Mr. Speaker. And most of them nowadays, I'm happy. I've had the mover of the motion, Senator Kisheru, speaking about the royalties that are being paid through Music Copyright Society of Kenya. We have had similar complaints. I remember there is even a Kalenjin Music Association group, there is a Kamba, Mr. Speaker, there is a Lua. I saw, Mr. Speaker, and you know one interesting thing, these musicians or content creators are not poor. I saw Prince Ida in Migori doing a grand wedding. And I'm told the influencers and the rich in this country spend up to 40 billion in weddings, Mr. Speaker. An average wedding now is 1.5 to 3.5 million Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. So, and most of it, Mr. Speaker, apart from attire, venue, and food, one of the critical things is entertainment. That's why you will invite maybe MC Jaffe or DJ Nosh, Mr. Speaker. They'll mix a few things, a few songs, Mr. Speaker. If you have opportunity, Mr. Speaker, of inviting, I think, may his soul rest, I think there was a famous Kalenjin musician called Rhino Kaboom, Mr. Speaker. He will ensure there is kaboom in the wedding, Mr. Speaker. And they earn their money, I'm told, apart from photography, which is 150,000 Kenya shillings, and videography. They are paid up to above 50,000, 60,000 Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. Even the MC, like there is an MC that used to work in Kass FM, MC, the famous MC called Excellency Kemei, Mr. Speaker. He's paid up to 60,000 Kenya shillings. Even, in fact, Senator Eddie, most of these creative industry are being paid more than P1 teacher, Mr. Speaker. If one function for an MC, like MC Jaffe or DJ Nosh or MC Nosh, Mr. Speaker, or even Probox, there's a guy called Probox, where I come from, I think he comes from Kericho, they are being paid 50,000 per MC. And it is normal wedding. What about the corporate? So there is money. I want to challenge the young people. What I'm happy about Senator Eddie, and he has proved to be very sharp in this session, and he has grown in leaps and bounds. Courtesy of Broadbase, is now the chairperson. Mr. Speaker, I saw him behaving like a chairperson over the weekend, which is very good, because he's bringing the dignity of the House as the chairperson of roads transport, Mr. Speaker. And he has become a chair. I remember after the senator in the last session passed on, when he was fighting with the current governor, we were excited to have the young man, Mr. Speaker, who was supposed to come, and I'm happy God has been gracious to him. And these are the real issues. I want the young people across the country to celebrate and appreciate Senator Eddie for this serious trademark, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, so that we don't appear that we don't talk about youth issues. This creative economy support bill, Madam Speaker, is one of the life-changing, because it's bringing order and sanity within the creative economy for the young people. And the biggest beneficiaries, Madam Speaker, will be the young people. So I've had, whenever I walk into the village during the weekends, young people will ask you, Mheshimiwa, we are not hearing you speaking about youth issues. This is the youth issues we are discussing. We want to bring order and sanity within the area, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I want to propose that also we need for startups, and I think he mentioned, is we need to do tax exemptions. Even us in sports industry, we are pushing that the awards that at least win outside the country, they must be given tax exemption, because they are subjected, Madam Speaker, to double taxation. Because Facebook or Meta company tax you. Why is it that Kenya Revenue Authority wants to tax you again, Madam Speaker? We need to give them tax exemption, the way the principle we use for the sports and athletics, Madam Speaker, where we said since our award has been taxed in the winning country, there is no need that Kenya Revenue Authority should come and tax, Madam Speaker. And I'm happy in this issue of royalties. Madam Speaker, at least our musicians, our artists are now living in dignity. But we must, I want to challenge Senator Eddie, even as we propose this bill, that we must audit the Music Copyright Society on royalties. People like Joel Kimeta, Madam Speaker, have sung for long, Sweet Star. Madam Speaker, many of them, Chelele, may our soul rest in peace, the Kipchamba. We have even what we call Captel Moran dancers who are invited to state functions and they are only given 10,000 or 20,000. It's embarrassing, Madam Speaker, after enjoying the songs, Madam Speaker. And I'm told these content creators, I want to request, Madam Speaker, and I'm happy the President mentioned that going into the future we'll get more cheaper phones. Because when you walk around National Archives here in Nairobi, especially on weekends, you will find young people using drones, using their phones. I am requesting that we zero rate the cameras, the phones, the videography, Madam Speaker, so that our young people can shoot some of these short videos to upload in TikTok, in Facebook, in Twitter for monetizing and ensure that they earn something. Madam Speaker, while I think one of the things that we were being taught in class, Madam Speaker, in literature, was that this is Kioja Chami, allow me with indulgence to quote that even nowadays we have changed the literature aspect of passing a message through the TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp, or X, as you want to prefer, among other social media. While we appreciate that young people have been given opportunity to shoot within the city without harassment, we want to see in most counties that one applied. We want to request county governments, and I have not seen in this bill, and I hope Senator Eddie will look at this, is let us allow the young people to do shoot of the videos, the short videos across the country, and even pictures without necessarily, Madam Speaker, being subjected to police harassment or enforcement officers from counties. What I want to request the young people is that as they shoot these videos, they should shoot to educate, to entertain, to encourage, to bring the unity of the country. We don't want also this one to be used an avenue to incite and destroy the social fabric of our nation, Madam Speaker. We also want to discourage maybe the content that might not be palatable, like pornography issues. We want to ask that the data commissioner, and I heard somebody say today, Madam Speaker, this country is funny. You say something on the floor of the house, somebody somewhere is uncomfortable, they just share your number and say inject. Madam Speaker, the data commissioner and data commission must protect Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I've been a victim several, and you know the people who send the messages will use to WhatsApp you, SMS you, and they WhatsApp you very bad messages, very insulting messages, Madam Speaker. I want to challenge the data commission and data commission protection. We have the bill in place. They must protect us and Kenyans. Somebody cannot wake up and send and share the number of Senator Omogeni in Twitter or in X, Madam Speaker, and then they say inject, and then you are being sent messages the whole night. Madam Speaker, even when your spouse sees, they might think you are the one doing it, but somebody is harassing you somewhere. They are stalking you, Madam Speaker. I want to challenge and I want to support the government that all social media like Meta, Facebook, X, Twitter, TikTok, among others, Madam Speaker, they must establish their physical offices in Nairobi or in Kenya so that accountability and transparency can be held. Because by the fact that X account, somebody posts and says, Speaker Muma, this is a number, inject. What are you injecting? And they are injecting the wrong thing. They are not even sending you sensible things, Madam Speaker, and they are even sending one bob to your M-Pesa line, which is border to harassment. We have moved from harassment physically to harassment through technology of our phones, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I want to request that young people, as they use this forum, we need to bring order. I didn't see offenses, Senator Eddie. I hope one of the offenses is that this guild should self-regulate and ensure young people don't abuse this space. We want this space as technology grows. This is a digital era. This is an information era. But let us use it for the betterment of this country. Madam Speaker, and you know, YouTube also, I want to celebrate YouTubers. They are eating well. People like Njugush, Crazy Kena, I know he knows. People like Flacco, Mungai, Eve, I don't know, they broke up with the boyfriend and the YouTube died. There's also Butita. There's also Obina, Madam Speaker. And therefore, these are young people. I know when I say this, my generation will understand what we mean. YouTube has monetized and ensured, even our clerk Avata is aware of this because He's in our generation, so she should be able to understand. Can you imagine, Madam Speaker, in YouTube, and I want to give numbers. When you have 1 million views, you earn between 100 and 150,000 Kenyan shillings. It's so beautiful. Which P1 teacher earns 100 to 150,000. That is why we must regulate this industry. Because this is where gold mine. Leave the Kilipesa in Migori. This is where gold mine is. Madam Speaker, can you imagine if you have 1 million views, just sitting in your house, you are earning 150,000, 150,000. Even in Facebook, 1,000 views, you are getting between $8 to $20. And that is the aspect of monetizing the process and ensure. And Madam Speaker, let me say this. If this bill becomes a law, it will be one of the greatest legacies of the third Senate, courtesy of the Chair of Roads and Transport. The young people who are frustrated, who do not have opportunity, the 35% of youth population, the 2.9 million Kenyans who don't have much opportunity, they will always be grateful. Madam Speaker. And I'm happy that the future of young leadership, courtesy of Senator Eddie, looks very bright. And the young people should feel encouraged. They should not, Madam Speaker, they should not feel frustrated, even as we move around. And that is why the president even is moving for labor mobility. Apart from labor mobility, traditional jobs, we now establishment, and I hope I didn't see, maybe Senator Eddie will look at this, that the government is pushing for establishment of digital hubs, 290 digital hubs, Madam Speaker. And I'm proposing that let us establish digital hubs at the world level so that young people can walk to where internet is and walk through online jobs, Madam Speaker. And that will give opportunity and protect the creative industry, even in innovation. And that is why I was proposing that the Creative Economy Support Bill should read as the Creative Economy and Innovation Support Bill, Madam Speaker. I agree, most of the young people, how do we support them? And Madam Speaker, they only request, I met an artist the other day in Tindre, and he was only requesting for 5,000, 10,000 to record a song. Why are we reducing our upcoming artists to beggars, Madam Speaker? There is a guy who was pong, is it called Malot, I think from Kaptagat. He's a young man, he's struggling. He wants to start out to record a song and share. Nowadays, Madam Speaker, it's very easy. You record and release it online, maybe through YouTube, and you get your views, and through monetization, you will get your money, Madam Speaker. And therefore, apart from labor mobility, I think what is important is establishment of digital hubs across our country, Madam Speaker. I have seen the role of PWDs in this bill. I want to encourage that we give a greater opportunity to the issues of PWDs in this country, Madam Speaker, so that they can have an opportunity going into the future, Madam Speaker. So the issue of content creators and role of PWDs, I don't know how we should marry. And then the aspect, Madam Speaker, of punishing or ensuring that I have seen these incentives. Madam Speaker, the last point I wanted to make, apart from incentives, is that there will be appropriation from money from Parliament, but also the aspect of intellectual property. Madam Speaker, can you, and I think Parliament, Madam Speaker, especially our colleagues, in good faith, you introduce a bill, you take it to the National Assembly, they write back and say it is a money bill. Then before you know it, somebody in the National Assembly publishes. Is that not plagiarism? Yeah, because, Madam Speaker, and I hope they will not sabotage this bill, and then you realize they will reintroduce in another form and shed, but it's the same content, Madam Speaker. So even as we protect intellectual property rights, we need to ensure the young people, Madam Speaker, have opportunity of their songs, their creation. We don't want to see plagiarism, Madam Speaker. I saw there was this guy, Samson Maombi, from Kisii, and I don't know whether Senator Omogeni knows that. There is a guy called Samson Maombi who sings Adventist songs as country music. And there is a guy who came all the way from Europe who wanted to play Lukumba Lukumba. And I'm happy he had good lawyers. You know, Kisii community has most lawyers, brilliant lawyers come from Kisii community led by Senator Okongo Mugeni, who is the senior counsel, Madam Speaker. And Samson Maombi could detect that there was an agenda that they wanted to finish his songs by plagiarism by foreigners. How do we protect people like Samson Maombi, who have sung Adventist songs in country music at tones, Madam Speaker? How do we protect So these are intellectual property rights, and you are a lawyer, Madam Speaker, a very senior lawyer in this country. We need, and I'm happy that you have introduced something called intellectual property rights, Madam Speaker, so that we can ensure. Even the issue of shooting, you know, KICC was closed from Friday to yesterday, Madam Speaker. We could not access. And I'm told they did dancing waters outside there of 100 million, but it's dysfunctional. Madam Speaker, even as Parliamentary Service Commission, the commissioner is here, you know, KICC is a landmark that is used by content creators. You should tell KICC to allow young people to use their grounds, because it's heritage of Kenya, Madam Speaker. But that KICC is poorly run. The toilets are pathetic. The corridors are badly lit. You see cockroaches and rats walking around in KICC, and they dare close KICC because of Parliament has not paid the money, Madam Speaker. But in as much as we are telling parliamentary joint services to pay the money to KICC, the people running KICC should know it's an heritage, like National Archives. They should allow young people to go up to the helipad, shoot their short videos. That is the least we can do to young people, Madam Speaker. Even Parliament should be allowed to young people to do short videos. We don't need Gen Z protests, Madam Speaker, to access here for them to shoot videos. We should bring an orderly manner on how they can walk into the chamber with the protection of sergeant-at-arms and the organization of the clerk of the Senate and National, so that they let us open up these spaces for young people to create their content and earn money. That is the least we can do, Madam Speaker. That's the least we can do. That is the least we can do, Madam Speaker. We cannot create them for jobs. Even us, we beg for jobs to be here. The only thing we can do is allow them.
Your time is up. Your time is up.
1 minute, Madam Speaker, so that I say I support.
Okay, 1 minute.
Even my senior councillor said that. Madam Speaker, I was making very even as the senators who are here, we are telling young people, go and look for a job. We are telling young people, go and look. Even us, we could not employ ourselves. So we had to go and beg for a job from Kenyans to be here. So the least we can do, let us create an enabling environment for content creation. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support this bill.
Senator Professor Kamara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I will be brief. First, I would like to congratulate Senator Eddie Okech for such a wonderful piece of law. I congratulate him because creative economy is something that has been ignored for many years. Madam Speaker, creative industry enables one to use their own brain to build ideas into products, to make the intangible tangible. And it has not been recognized in most cases. You find that in most cases, we are photocopying or copying other people's ideas because you don't know where to go with your own idea. Recently, Madam Speaker, I met a young fellow. I met a young fellow who actually had ideas and said, using the mother's telephone, he has a program. He said he has a program that merges M-Pesa, but that will be much better for the banks. And this is a Form 4 student. I had to persuade him to go and finish his Form 4 first, because the boy is brilliant. He gives you ideas. In fact, he was bubbling with ideas. And I told him, you know what, when you finish Form 4, I will give you a mentor. The reason is that I didn't want him distracted. But how many parents have stopped their children from, being creative because we want to finish the Form 4 first? We want to finish the degree first. There are many. Our children are extremely creative. I still keep asking, because we asked this when I was Minister for Science and Technology, and we didn't get the answer. Who exactly came up with the idea of M-Pesa? And nobody wants to say because the bank says it is because of their intellectual property. But actually we heard of young people who are complaining that they are the ones who came up with the idea. Whether it is true or not is another story. But it's because there was no protection and there was no law to protect anybody's ideas. We are grateful that already the law on intellectual property rights had arrived. But, Madam Speaker, even the law of intellectual property rights in this country came very, very late. It was only in the late 90s that the intellectual property rights came. I remember I was in the university at that time, and when we came up with the intellectual property rights, it was one of its kind because no other university had it. And we did it to protect an idea of one professor whose idea was almost stolen by a Belgian because they had the law and we didn't have the law. So I really want to congratulate my colleague because this is going to protect the ideas and it's going to protect the creativity of our people. Madam Speaker, creativity, skill and talent development is something that is natural. It is in the heart of the African behavior. Madam Speaker, you were talking a few hours ago about the creativity of beads and what the meaning of the beads are. That there is no African woman or man who wears a bead without a meaning. Everything has a meaning. But nobody has actually documented, as you were articulating to us earlier, what the meanings are. We are very rich. The African culture is extremely rich. The African culture has creativity inculcated in it. But documentation has not been done, but more than anything, nothing has been protected. So the bill that Senator Akechi is bringing is a bill that is going to nurture and protect creativity. And I really thank him for this, because there are so many things that are Kenyan that have not been protected. Madam Speaker, these days, in the North Rift, during weddings, we use a lot of beadwork from the Maasai community. The beadwork from the Maasai community is being used for weddings, especially weddings where we have cross-cultural, where you have cross-race weddings. You find that the only thing that can identify our girls is the beadwork. And we use Maasai beads without telling them it's Maasai, without discussing where it has come from, and yet we know the origin is from there. These are things that need to be protected and they need to be built. And as we look at this bill, you realize, Madam Speaker, that there is a lot that then has not even been protected by law. So the Maasai bead is not being called Maasai beads. They're just beads. But wait until somebody else discovers. Madam Speaker, the kiondo, which was a product of Mount Kenya, is now called the Chinese kiondo. Why? Because we didn't know it was creative. We didn't know it was a product of a process that was creative to the indigenous group. So Chinese discovered that we were making kiondos and called it Chinese kiondo. And we could retrieve it because they had a lot to protect it. So when you have laws like this to protect, it really helps. But more than that, I'm really very impressed by the incentives for creativity. Because who pays you to think? Who pays you to give an idea? Who pays you to nurture the idea? Like the young man who told me, I'm in Form 4, but my idea, I don't even know how to. I told him, just protect it until we finish, until you finish your studies. Who would pay such a child who has not even finished paying fees to be able to grow the idea to something? This is what this fund is going to do. And I'm very excited that there is going to be a fund that can actually help our youth to nurture their talent. Madam Speaker, this bill is timely. It is timely because we're in a transition from the 844 system to the CBC system. The CBC system is actually full of creativity. In the pathways that we have been given. We have been given the STEM pathway, we have been given the social science pathway, and we have an art pathway. So the bill that Senator Akech has given us is a bill that belongs to this pathway of art. Madam Speaker, if you ask ourselves why football and how football became an international game, you'll realize that football actually was an idea of some community. It was a game in a community. Now it has become international, and you earn money for it. Who has stopped us from creating other games that are ours? In Kenya, we are very good in music. Every community has a different way of expressing themselves through music. It is possible to actually create a music festival that can be international. The problem we are having currently is that we have exposed our music in the YouTube, sometimes without any pay. So that if somebody wants to watch a Pokot dance, they just click and they enjoy the Pokot dance, and the Pokot doesn't enjoy anything. It is good that we actually get our ideas together and document them for monetary value. So when I read this bill, and that it is really converting our creativity, our skills and talent in order to exploit them for financial gain, for economic gain, I said this is a time. This is a time because we need to get all our creativity issues into that. You go to other countries, Madam Speaker, and you are actually invited to go to an opera at about 500 shillings, $500 to go to the opera, to watch people just music. They sing the whole 3 hours, and you are paid, and you ask yourself, if we were in Bomas of Kenya, at $500, you would see the Luya dancers, you would see the Kamba dancers, you would see the Taita dancers, and that would make money that is solid because of the creativity that is in it. So in other countries, what they are displaying is nothing compared to what we have. But it is because they have packaged it to the level that their creativity actually can be of economic value. And this is what this bill is doing. It is going to protect our creativity, it is going to protect our talents, and it's going to display them with value. It will add value not only to the country, but it will also add value to the individuals that are going to benefit from this. I'm very impressed that we are going to have incubation programs, because, again, we must bear in mind that our youth, who are extremely creative, could easily be exploited by anybody. We were talking about exploitation even between ourselves and our sister house, where you have a bill, it crosses to the other house, it is delayed, it is mutilated, changed, and then it is represented. This is how creativity can be done. It can be mutilated, and somebody else comes up with other ideas. So for that reason, this is very good, that we are going to have our children mentored, we are going to have our children protected, so that within these incubation programs, we are able to protect what an individual has created, name it, because if you don't name it, you don't have it. Name it so that it is known that this is an homogeny product, and that product is his, and he can sell it, he can enjoy it. So incubation programs, mentorship is one other thing. For our children, and this is what I was telling the young man I met the other day, was for our children, their ideas are running so fast, and they are real ideas. Before it is stolen from them, we need to have mentors, people who will walk the journey with them, people who are senior in the field. ICT is becoming is a very big thing. So for them to really be champions, they would need mentors. And I think this is what the fund is going to do. The fund should be able to create an environment for the innovators, for these creative innovators to be able to be protected. Madam Speaker, knowledge can be nurtured, knowledge can be transferred, knowledge can be stored. This is what we want to do through this bill. So I'm very grateful for our brother giving us this bill. Creativity and innovation is the way to go, and making it a means for economic development is even the sweeter part of this bill, so that the creative sector can also contribute to the economy of the individuals, while the individuals participate in the economy of the country. Madam Speaker, I said I would not go too much. I am happy about Article 22 on the credit guarantee, because it means that any creative person will not be limited. The problem normally is that the most creative may not be the most endowed as far as financing is concerned. So it is so good that this fund has been established to have a guarantee, a credit guarantee scheme, because this is required. Somebody can only have something called the idea. And for you to transform that idea into something tangible, something that can give you economic value, you need somebody to walk the journey with you, a financial support, some financial support to take you through. And that is why we need this credit guarantee scheme. And I am very happy that it is there. The guarantee scheme, according to sub-article 2, is to provide for accessible financial support to the creatives. And when this is explained to our youth, you will see how creativity will boom. Madam Speaker, we used to have something called the Science Congress. In the Science Congress, our youth were supposed to come up with ideas that are not in the book, that are not in the science book. And we saw students come up with ideas that were amazing. In fact, this thing of, there are so many things that our students actually were able to come up with, but they were not mentored, they did not mature into anything. The reason they could not mature into anything is that they could not fund anything. After they finished their Science Congress in Form 4, they finished their Form 4 class and they go. So it is very important that this creation of a fund, a credit guarantee fund, is very important to provide accessibility of financial support for creatives and a framework for credit guarantee to creatives. This is very, very important, because not everybody who has ideas can finance their ideas to maturity. We will need somebody else to support so that they can incubate their ideas, they can work on their ideas. I also like the idea that they are going to have a research team. They will access research information, because that will tell them what has happened in other corners of the world, and so they don't have to copy, but they can build on that and grow. That requires a lot of researching, and that must be provided for. And I really am happy that this bill has provided for that, so that they can do that. Mentors and resource persons have been articulated. Intellectual property rights as part of the capacity building have been outlined, which is very good. Projects and existing incubation programs, they need to know that information so that they don't redo what is going on. This bill, to me, Madam Speaker, is extremely good, and it's going to change. It's going to be a game changer in the lives of our youth, especially now that we are transiting to CBC. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I do support.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first and most, I want to applaud the young senator, Senator Eddie. As one of the youngest senators, I'm sure he must have felt the need for creative art as part of his life. And I want to applaud him for the good work and for the good bill. I think this is actually a bill that everybody should appreciate. Honorable Speaker, this country, Kenya, is a country of diversity. A country with a lot of contrast. That when you see the drama vegetables of our schools, that's the only time you really feel that this country is a country that's rich in creative arts. When you see those young girls and boys in schools, where they present the ideas that they get from the teachers, I think we need to support those ideas and build on it, so that at least those small minds that have come up with that kind of creation, that creative arts, must be supported. Because in the other world, you see, even today you go to US and you go to Europe, there are so many Africans who have been given scholarships for this because of having that kind of creative thinking, because of sports. But you know, the country like Kenya, with all this beautiful diversity and arts available within our rich and society, is yet to be appreciated. That most of our young, talented people, even the sportsmen and women, some of them are now going to become citizenship in Arab land. Some of them are even going to Uganda, simply because we don't appreciate it. Probably we have plenty of it, that we don't see the necessity of having this. Honorable Speaker, creative arts, you know, encompasses a lot of things in the human activities. It encompasses imaginations, expressions, arts, history, and a lot of things. That today, if this actually is conserved and preserved, that is going to be, you know, a very intellectual issues that can be referred for any purposes. That can, it's actually like when you go to Masai Mara and those places, you see white men and people, the foreigners coming, and just they appreciate the attire that our ancestors and the men of Masai wear. And today, if you go to areas like Europe, or even the big hotels, you see people glad in the Masai shuka. And it's actually even sold at expensive price. But for Kenya, we don't even appreciate that. We say it is a backwardness, that it's a barbaric in having those kind of cultures, and it is not so. So I think it's a high time that we support the creative economy. Madam Speaker, in the past, we used to have a department of culture and social science, social services. That was a very strong institution. They used to support the creative art. The creative art was being supported. There used to be competitions in schools. There used to be competitions, traditional dancers, even celebrating every, what do you call it, public holidays, public days. And, you know, they used to come from every corner of Kenya. But, of course, these days, you see, some few people have been collected from the slums, and then they're just been given 1 minute to go and dance, and thereafter you talk about speech and political issues. I think it's a high time that you think we need to move forward and at least be able to appreciate. Madam Speaker, one other thing is most of our cultural ambassadors, most of our creative arts people are today wallowing in poverty. You see the likes of Mama Kai and her team. I mean, Hoja Makamani. These people are dying. They are wallowing in poverty. They have nowhere to run to. They have nobody to support them. I think but this kind of, you know, economic support for the creative art group can be done, this country, I think, will move forward, and we will be able to appreciate those people who are able to teach our young ones. Because these cultures that today we are neglecting, there will be a time, you are seeing now the era of, you know, TikTok and all these things, Our children, instead of thinking about what about our arts, about creative, about our cultures, they are just seeing dirty things and spending most of the times in looking TikToks, naked women, and seeing things. I think, but if these kind of traditions have been put into our cultures, have been put to the TVs, they put to the media, all these. I remember when I was a young man, before I learned anything, we used to get a cinema, mobile cinemas. They used to go up to every corner of Kenya. They used to be, people used to be showing agriculture, how people are producing food, people how they do the activities. They used to show us traditional dancers. We didn't know about Maasai, all these things. When I came from all the way from Wajir, I had to appreciate that this culture of Maasai and all these things. And when we see people plowing and farmers competing, we see now that I think we need to do these kind of things. So I think we need to learn from one another. But of course, if we don't give time to those kind of creative arts, then I think we will miss the points. And our generation, the Gen Z, will be only thinking the TikToks and dances and funny things. And therefore, I think this is the right time, and I want to thank the sponsor of this motion, that we must move forward and put resources on this kind of economic arts. With those few remarks, I beg to support.
Senator Mogeni.
Yes, Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity to also contribute to this creative economy support bill that has been sponsored by Senator Eddie Okech. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in registering my accolades for Senator of Migori, Senator Okech, who comes from a city that is famed for music. Madam Speaker, if you know a song that was sung trying to bring to the attention of Kenyans the devastating effects of AIDS, it was sung by the late Prince Julie, who was based in Migori, where Senator Eddie Okech comes from. The song that used to say, Ukimwi Yaua, if I'm not wrong. Dunia Mbaya. The Dunia Mbaya song was from Migori. Then, if I'm not wrong, Senator Okech, there is Baba Eddie. There's a musician in Migori called Uncle Eddie. Yes. So he comes from a county, Madam Speaker, that will benefit immensely if this bill was to become law. Because I know the massive talent that is within not only the county of Migori, but within all the 4 counties of the Luo nation. So I want to thank you, Senator Okech, for demonstrating a desire to ensure that you pass a bill that will immensely benefit the people of Kenya, not just the people of Migori, but the people of Kenya. Madam Speaker, when we came up with 47 counties, the dream and wish of Kenyans is that in these 47 counties, each of the 47 counties will be famed for something. Like if you want to go to US and listen to good country music, you know that you land in Tennessee, the homeland of this lady who sang very good country music. Her name is disappearing. She's now retired. But you will know that if you are in Tennessee Valley, that's the home of country music. That is the home of blues, nice music. If you want to go to a city of entertainment, you will know that you will either end up in Los Angeles or you end up in, what do we call this city, Yokohama, you know? So in this country, Madam Speaker, if I want to say, I want to pick a country that is famed for music, you don't get any. So this bill, I hope, will give us an opportunity to ensure that we have counties that are famed for something. If it is culture, Madam Speaker, I want somebody to know that if I go to Nyamira County, I'll get the best cooked bananas. If you're traveling to Migori, you should say, I will stop in Nyansiongo, enjoy a meal of bananas before I proceed to Migori. And that way you create job opportunities for our young entrepreneurs. You can run a restaurant and you earn money, maybe more money than what Senator Cherargei can earn. These establishments we see called 7-Eleven, they were started as a small shop store, but now it's a big franchise in many cities in the world, Madam Speaker. And I hope that once this bill becomes law, that's what we will expect. There is no city, I don't know whether there is any city that is as blessed as Nairobi, with a game reserve right at the boundaries of our city. But I don't think in the world we can say we are famed for the most, a city that is most known for gaming. We are not, Madam Speaker. Instead, those accolades are taken by San Francisco that does not have the kind of facility that the National Game Reserve, Nairobi National Game Reserve gives us. So this is a very good bill. I hope it can take the structure of our own Law Society of Kenya, where we come up with a remuneration order, so that people who have demonstrated talent can be remunerated. Madam Speaker, who in Kenya does not know Embarambamba, that musician from Kisii? Everybody knows Embarambamba. But if you ask how much royalty has he been paid by government, you'll find it's a few shillings here and there. But if, as it's proposed in this bill, we can come up with a proper remuneration for our musicians. We listen to their music in Citizen, KBC, but at the end of the year, Madam Speaker, do they ever benefit? Let's talk about fashion, Madam Speaker. The Maasais are famed with the Maasai shuka. Every tourist who comes to Kenya, you go to White Sands, Mombasa, in the evening, the Maasais want to clad themselves in shuka. Not because they saw Senator Fonarok doing that in this house, but that's what the Maasais are famed for. But who has created an intellectual property right over those shukas of Maasais? So that if you come to Kenya and you want to get a dress that is identified with the Maasais, there is somebody somewhere, Madam Speaker, who will benefit from that industry. It's not there. So I think if we support this bill, and I hope honorable senators will enact it, there are a number of people who will benefit from it. Madam Speaker, when you talk of the creative industries we see online from our youths, I don't know whether there is any country that has attracted the attention of Kenyans in TikTok more than Kenya. They post things we all read, love about, we share, but at the end of the day, those young boys and girls have not really earned something from it. So I hope Senator Okech, the body that you have proposed in this bill, can be strengthened, because I can see you are mentioning one person nominated by the association representing the largest member of persons in the music industry. So how will we pick and know who is the largest, who has the largest number of persons in the music industry? I think we need to tie it there. Maybe we should create a body that people will apply, register, and then we are able to say they elect themselves, or they apply in a competitive way, and they pick the person who is best in that industry. For the lawyers, I will propose that we reserve this slot for a young lawyer. You know, you have proposed that we should get an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, nominated by the Law Society of Kenya. I will propose Senator Cherargei that you reserve this slot for Law Society for the young lawyers. Because if you say an advocate and you give it to a 67-year-old, he may not be in tune with the happening. So let this be reserved for the young lawyers. And the beauty with the Society of Kenya is that they have an association, so it will be very, very easy. Now going to publishing. Madam Speaker, there are a number of Kenyans who write articles in our weekend editions of Sunday Nation, Standard, and I want to spend 1 minute to eulogize the late Firoz Noroji, who wrote an article. I think the last piece was penned late last year in Sunday Nation, faithfully, every Sunday. And I'm told, Madam Speaker, from those articles, the newspapers pay per article 100,000 shillings. Now, if this thing is well regulated, and you have somebody who is talented in penning articles to these newspapers, you're talking about somebody who is earning an income of 400,000 a month just by writing an article to our local newspapers over the weekend. I know there is a time one of our lawyers, George Kegoro, used to also write for the Sunday Nation. And again, each piece, every Sunday, you read George Kegoro's article, he was pocketing some good money. And that's what we want for our young professionals, people who are talented. I don't know whether Cleophas Malala, who was a senator with us here, yes? Who pens plays that are sometimes controversial, but plays that capture the imagination of the nation. I don't know whether he gets any earnings from writing those plays. But if you have a law like this that takes care of all these talented Kenyans, Madam Speaker, somebody will be able to earn an income. I'm sure it's not just Malala who can write plays. But if people know that the country recognizes their talent, they know that if you write a play, there are chances that you'll make good money, that we may change your fortunes, you'll attract many people. Why should we, I always wonder, why should we, Madam Speaker, be a country that, when I grew up, I knew Butter Bullets, a company that makes shoes, was in Ilumuru. But the Nike boots that are used for making football are not associated with any company in Kenya. But if we have people who are creative enough, Madam Speaker, we can also come up with a new invention. We create a new brand of football boots that is made in Kenya through a company like Butter Bullets. The many musicians, young guys, like in Kisii, I know there's one called Homo Science. I've mentioned about Embarambamba. All these guys sing music, Madam Speaker, but if you visit their homes, there is nothing to show for it. Compared with other celebrities like Maria Carey, who have made good money from singing and the likes. So, Madam Speaker, I want to support this bill by Senator Cherargei and hope that it can be enacted into law so that our locals can enjoy, and I hope the government will also support them. Let's give them some tax waivers for a while, Mr. Speaker, and then we ensure that we make our young people to have smiles in their faces. Madam Speaker, somebody said, if you don't put money in the pockets of these young people, we are courting a revolution. So this is one way of coming up with innovative ways of ensuring that our young people have money in their pockets. Madam Speaker, I carried a document that was tabled before CPAC by my county of Nyamira. And when you look at it on the face of it, you will think that there is a group somewhere, maybe of youths or women, that have benefited. If you look at a receipt that I have, it says it's a cash sale from a group called Buoteki Self-Help Group, Madam Speaker. And when you look at the receipt, it tells you that this group hired a PA to the county government of Nyamira, and they were paid 25,000 shillings. But I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, if you look for this Buoteki Self-Help Group, chances are that you will never find such a group. But if this is something that was truly happening on the ground, you will be saying, we are helping some people somewhere on the ground that have a talent of hiring your PA system, and they also act as an MC. But I'm sure, Madam Speaker, if we followed this Buoteki Self-Help Group, you will find that this group does not exist, because that receipt has got no date. That receipt does not say the payments came from the county government of Nyamira. If you look, another one I just picked, you will see another one called Judikip Enterprises. Okay? These ones, again, it says they were paid some 25,000 on 24th of February 2021 to act as MC in a function that took place in Nyamira. If this was to be something that is happening on the ground, Madam Speaker, we will all be celebrating and saying there are people who are benefiting from devolution. But chances are, Madam Speaker, that these receipts were just manufactured by somebody at the county, and there is no beneficiary on the ground. So I support this bill, Madam Speaker, and hope that once it's enacted, it will be transformative. It will assist us to protect intellectual property rights of our young people. We'll also create a legal framework, Madam Speaker, that will protect those who have talent, those who are creative, those who are entertaining us on YouTube, etc., Madam Speaker. So with those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I want to stop there and really thank Senator for Migori, Senator Okech, for coming up with this bill, and hope that everybody in the industry will remember that it is Senator Okech who changed the fortunes of their lives when this bill eventually becomes an act. I support, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sige.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have watched patiently the Senator, my neighbor, as he was closing, and I was hoping that he would give me an opportunity even to introduce my support for this particular bill. And I want to congratulate my friend Senator Okech Eddie for such an industrious bill. In his moving notes, Madam Speaker, he ran us through the aspects which informed the decision to sponsor such a futuristic bill. And I will go a long way in also supporting the rest, or rather joining the rest of my colleagues in supporting Senator Okech and also the bill that is brought before this particular House. Madam Speaker, I'm trying to align my thoughts, but I'll just start and say that from the statistics which I've picked, the creative industry and the creative sector contributes 38 billion to the economy of this country. These are actually the statistics of the 2023-2024 financial year from a report from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics alongside Kenya Film Corporation. 38 billion shillings, Madam Speaker, is such huge sums of money. And they have in that report noted that if it is streamlined, if the legislation along the creative industry is refined enough, this amount is not even 50% of what the economy of this country can enjoy. This bill, therefore, Madam Speaker, has come at a time when we have come to appreciate and to monetize the importance of the creative industry. Myself, Madam Speaker, I come from the county of Bomet, which in future we will definitely name it the county of music. The reason, Madam Speaker, is because we have got almost the entirety of the Kalenjin musicians come from particular my constituency, Chipalugu constituency. And I want to mourn one of the legendary musicians, Solomon Manori, who passed on last week, and he will be buried on Saturday. He's one of those musicians who have entrenched the importance of art, the importance of music, the importance of talent, such nurturing and monetizing it. Unfortunately, we lost him out of a situation that he had been gotten into. And as we bury him, I will be celebrating that gentleman with the support of this particular bill, which I know will go a long way, both in the history.
Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Sige, you have 17 more minutes. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 14th May 2025 at 9:30 a.m.